Hello, my darlings. This is Rex Regine, but you can call me Sir. I run the Tumblr blog Sir Approves. That's one word. No fucking hyphens. We hate that guy. So you've joined into my hatred because I said so. It's come to my attention that the average human has an attention span of 8 seconds, which is quite preposterous, which means if you've made it this far, you're well above average. I want to thank you, all of you who listen to the show. I know that there are so many other things available for you to do with your time, and I know there are other channels that are maybe more entertaining, but we're not here for that. And I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you. And part of this sort of old radio show feel is that I want you to listen. I want you to take 10, 15, 20 minutes out of your week, and I want you to spend it with me and just listen. I want this to be a quiet place, a thinking place, a safe place. When you come to listen to my show, I don't want to bombard you with things. Of course, we're going to have some laughs, and we'll have some special guests like Dr. Phil and Earl, as in the last show. But I just want to thank you for being the sophisticated person that you are, and for coming here to exercise your mind more than, watching somebody fall through the ice and getting a laugh. I thank you for coming here to improve your emotional life, your sex life, your general mental health, and it's very much appreciated. So, we're not going to have any special guests tonight because this is a rather sober issue, and I will just jump right into the question. Dear Sir, thank you for being a role model and inspiration within the Bdsm community. I was wondering if you could tell me how to decipher whether you're being punished or abused. Feel free to give me examples of punishment as well. I've been a very naughty girl. Well, I think the answer is that I should just give you my address and we'll take it from there. Thank you very much, first of all, for the compliment. It does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate it immensely. Now, this question, the line between being punished and being abused, it can be a little complicated, but it's an issue of heart, as we've talked about in I think just about in every episode so far. It is an issue of heart. Punishment has its place, and in short, punishment will make you feel bad for a time, but there is a part of you, let's say your heart knows that it's for your benefit, because you've done something wrong. It's a growing thing, it's a learning thing, much like you would punish a child. Now, I'm not equating you to a child, anyone listening, but in that same vein, the way you punish a child, or the way you you hit a dog when it goes on the rug. Not that you're on that level, but you are doing that for the benefit of the child and everyone that child will know, and yourself. So you're teaching a child that you cannot speak like that, or you cannot behave like that it's inappropriate. And by punishing them, you are correcting behavior that would be detrimental to them at school or with friends, or as they get older and become adults. I think we have a lot of parents who miss the wagon on that right now. There are a lot of adults out there who could have used a little bit of time in the corner, I think. Things that aren't socially acceptable. So a punishment is going to be something to grow you, grow your relationship, whatever the punishment is if it's spanking, if it's deprivation of some kind, if it's sitting in a corner, if whatever that the punishments that you have worked out with your dom, whatever those happen to be. Now, abuse. This is I'm not going to issue trigger warnings on this channel. This is a channel about BDSM and the lifestyle, and I think that's pretty obvious. So I'm not going to say trigger warnings. Plus, whatever your belief on the matter, I think there are sometimes points in our life where we need to suck it up and we need to move forward with life. Otherwise, our past will drag us down completely into oblivion. So, let's get into abuse. I won't tell any stories of abuse, although over my years helping people, I have heard much more than my share of stories of abuse. Sometimes I've been brought to tears by these things. Other times I'm very angry and wish I could put on my Superman cape and go take care of the perpetrator myself. Some of them are not just not nice. I don't even know how things got so far. Abuse will make you feel bad inside and for a long time. Abuse will hurt your heart. It will break your soul. And the bottom line is that you know if you're being abused. You know it. It's just a question of whether you want to realize it or not. And here is a critical point. Do not let someone tell you that they are not abusing you. That is not their call, is it? You are the one dealing with whatever they're dishing out. It is not their call to say that they are not abusing you, or to say that you are a bad submissive, or to make you feel bad in some way because you don't want to be abused. One of the classics is, and unfortunately I've just had this conversation with someone, I love you, sweetheart, you're going to be fine. I had this conversation with someone that, who had been consistently told that they were unattractive, they're ugly, nobody wants you. This is a very, very classic move by an abusive person, male or female. If that person can make you feel so unattractive, so undesirable, so unwanted, that even if you did leave, if you had the guts to leave the relationship, no one else would want you. And what happens is then you start to think, well, what good am I? And you start to believe that it is a privilege to be abused by that person. You start to think that that person paying you any kind of attention is in honor, because no one else will. It's a very classic tactic, and it's not even necessarily something that's planned out or thought of, or that this person is intelligent enough to connive these things. It's the nature of the abusive person. They know what they're doing, even if they don't know what they're doing, if that makes any sense. If you feel awful, if you feel worthless, then you are in an abusive relationship, and you need to get out of it. You need to get away. Your life will be better off for it. Even if there is a shitstorm for walking away from it, your life will be better off for it. You cannot live like that, and certainly not in a Bdsm, daddy dom, dominant submissive, whatever your title is, whatever your branding of the situation is. You cannot live like that, because you cannot ever find joy in that. You can never find safety in that. You can never find trust in that. And if you cannot find those things, then the relationship is dead. It is a dead issue. And unfortunately, sometimes it gets too far before people realize that they're being abused. Now, something I do want to touch on is that I also very much hate when someone is done with a relationship and they split for whatever reasons, and then look back and then start to accuse that person of abusing them. For one, it is gone. The relationship is gone, okay? And you need to move on from that. It's okay to vent about it. It's okay to talk about it. But when you start to look back and then you accuse that person of abusing you, and that person says, well, this is what you wanted at the time, and I didn't mean to abuse you, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I hate to see men or women, let's just say submissives. I hate to see submissives then turn on a former dominant because they were not getting what they wanted out of the relationship. So just keep that in mind too. You made a mistake, they made a mistake. Life goes on. We are human after all. With the abuse that we're talking about here is deliberately abusive people, not accidents, not, I have slapped a woman too hard. I can admit that. And she said, very nicely, ow, that was too hard. And my immediate response is, oh my goodness, are you okay? Is there anything you need? Do you need ice? Do you need ibuprofen? Is there anything I can do for you? And of course, no, it's fine. Just that was a little too hard. And absolutely, and you reel it back in, and that we're going to make mistakes as people. If something is too hard, if something is too much, you need to speak up about it. You need to talk about it, because what happens is a lot of times people get abused because they don't even know that they're abusing, and the people abusing them think that this is what they want. This is what they think their submissive wants. So let's take, for example, let's take a woman and she gets slapped too hard, or she gets hit with let's say a flogger or something that hurts too much. Let's say it's rubber straps, whatever, who knows. And it hurts too much. Excuse me. But she never says anything. She pretends to like it because she thinks that she's supposed to. So now you have a dominant who's doing this to her because he thinks that she likes it because she never said otherwise. And she appears to be enjoying it. And he knows that it's his job to push her right to her limits and sometimes push her just beyond them. But she never said anything to him. So how is he to know any different? Then they part ways, seemingly amicably, and then she starts telling everybody that he was abusive to her, when he had no idea, or she had no idea. The dominant had no idea. So, darlings, what I'm telling you is always be open and honest in these relationships, in any relationship, whether you are BDSM as fuck or you are as vanilla as fuck. Always be open and honest about your feelings, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have nothing to gain by keeping secrets, I think, is the bottom line of that situation. To say, I'm supposed to like this because I'm a submissive is wrong. You don't have to like a goddamn thing. You don't have to like anal sex. You don't have to like having oral sex. You don't have to like anything because you're submissive. I do apologize for the little break there. Apparently we had some technical difficulties. So I know we're jumping here, but what I was saying is that you don't have to like anything just because you're submissive. That's a mentality. That's an emotional state. You don't have to have sex on a bed of nails just because you're submissive. So I guess the thing is, and here's a bit of advice that I have shared before, and I will share it with everyone listening now. Tell your story to yourself. Tell your situation to yourself, out loud. Write it down if you have to. And then say, if my friend were telling me this story, would I think that she was being abused or he was being abused? If I were my friend telling me this story, how would I feel about it? And that may help you quite a bit. Examples of punishment, the third part of this question, well, you will just have to stop by and find out. The punishment always fits the crime, little girl. And I think that's it. I think we've wrapped up that question. I want to thank you all very much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you all got something out of it. And I want you to always, always, always trust your gut. Don't ever be forced into anything. Don't ever be told that this is the way things are. You have got to follow your heart. It is the only way you will ever be happy in life. And that is in all things. your employment, your relationships, how you talk to your mother, how things are at Thanksgiving, whatever. Everything in your life will be contingent on whether you are following your heart or not. Because if you are doing something that is not in your heart, you will never have satisfaction, because that thing is not a part of you. It's like that old saying, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. If you love your life, you'll never have a stress in your life. All right? And you need to move on from things from there. So if you would like to talk to me a little further about this, feel free to message me on Kick Messenger. That's the best way. Facebook, I'm still blocked on. Instagram, of course, sirapproves.official. And I'm trying out this new Vero thing. I don't understand that at all, but I'm not that tech savvy. So until next time, and after this episode, I just wanted to say, we're going to do something very light for our next episode. Our conversations have been very heavy, and we're going to lighten things up. And we do have much to go over, and I do thank you for all the likes, the subscriptions, the views. Share it with your cousin, share it with your mother. Don't share it with your little sister. She's not old enough. Thank you all for tuning in. All of my best and all of my love, sir.